Hello, fellow travelers. Under the watchful gaze of crows perched high above, we embark on a journey etched in shadow and ink, and guided only by the trembling needle of a compass that defies reason. Take a deep breath as we unravel the unknown.
Hello fellow travelers, my name's SG and welcome to the channel. Now to start off crossover month, I thought we'd start with a Cartoon Network classic. And it's interesting to call it a Cartoon Network classic because it cannot really be found anywhere else. Not really in the Amazon purchase pages, not really on HBO Max, but it can be found on YouTube. Now this of course is the combination of two of the cornerstones of Cartoon Network, The Grim Adventures of Billy and Mandy and Codename Kids Next Door. I'm talking of course the crossover event, The Grim Adventures of the KND. This crossover really was a love letter to both series, and at the same time, various other series along the way. With many different cameos and references throughout the episode, it would not be shocking to find out that this was the goodbye Cartoon Network had for both these series. And if we look at the timeline and where they are placed, it kind of makes sense in that certain degree. But before we jump into it, please leave a like, comment, subscribe down below. It would really help me out, lets me know that you like this content. If you do like the Grim Adventures of Billy and Mandy, or if you just like Codename Kids Next Door, or really did enjoy this combination of both, please leave it down in the comment section what you thought about this special, if you didn't like it, liked it, or if there's a certain episode that you did like and really feel it does deserve to be mentioned, please, as I said before, leave it down in the comment section. I'd really like to get back to it, and maybe even talk about their other projects along the way. But with all that being said, let's get started, shall we? The Grim Adventures of the KND originally aired on November 7th, 2011, and was written and created by Mr. Warburton and Maxwell Adams. And even to commemorate this event from happening, this crossover, they allowed their own names to be mixed up and or crossed over as well, making him Maxwell Warburton and Mr. Adams. With storyboard and animators from both sides contributing to this special, this was a true combination of what Cartoon Network could do if these studios continued to work alongside one another. Now that's not to say that there hasn't been multiple crossovers in the past. There have, and in fact I will cover some, maybe not on full-length videos, but maybe in shorts. But this is the first time we do see actual studios actually collaborating, if you will. We do see them meshing their own animation, their own story styles, to make a special, as short as it is, being 27 minutes, to make something new, different, and at the same time very familiar, and very true to the characters themselves. And as I said, this isn't the first and or last time we would see these kinds of combination. This is the first time we actually do see how they would react to each other's worlds, and to even suggest, are they in the same world? And we do get the answer when number 1 does say that they stay away from Ensville ultimately, mainly because of all the weird occurrences. Giving a canon reason why most other shows or other characters don't really care for Ensville itself. And, like I said before, there was more than just those two writers and animators that were involved in this. We do have Danny Anaducci, aka the creator of Ed and Eddie, throw in a small clip of Ed and Eddie referencing the kids next door and talking to Billy. This little clip, as I said, was written by him and was developed by his own studio and sent to the Grim Adventures of Billy and Mandy and Maxwell Adams as well. So really making this a three-way kind of crossover. But I would have to say there's more to it than just that, because we do get several other appearances that appear throughout the rest of the special as well, but we'll get to that more towards the references phase. The story goes as follows. When Billy accidentally breaks his dad's pants with the scythe of the Grim Reaper, he calls upon the only people that he knows that are able to help him, the Eds from Ed and Eddie. But ultimately they tell him they don't work for free, and that if they wanted somebody cheap, they might as well call the kids next door, which he does automatically. And when they arrive, they discover that they can't even fix the pants, or at least remove the scythe. So they said they're going to take him to the Antarctic base, where they will be able to do a full diagnostic of the situation. And leaving number 1 behind, who's disguised as Billy, in case anybody starts asking questions, they go off into the Antarctic base. But suddenly they get a call from the moon base, saying that the delightful kids from down the lane are up to something nefarious, and that they are to go to the delightful children's house right away in order to stop it, even though they are currently in a mission. Seeing no other reason, they seem to go straight to the location. But back at Billy's house, with number 1 pretending to be Billy, Mandy sees right through his disguise and starts torturing him to see if they can finally get the information that Mandy wants from him. Ultimately, number 1 cracks and tells her all about the kids next door. After this, Mandy takes number 1's clothes along with his glasses and goes to the moon base herself. Now, back at the Delightful Children's house, they do seem to infiltrate the overall premise, if you will. Or premises, if you will. There they discovered that their Delightful Children were making their Delightful Chamber, the thing that turned them into Delightful Children, into a stronger kind of power source, enough to make anybody who enters it, or even they choose, into a Delightful Children themselves. But when Billy fumbles and falls into the machine along with the Delightful Children, the powers of the Delightful Children along with the Scythe and his pants seem to combine into what they became as the Delightful Reaper. Now the Delightful Reaper is a mix of the Borg / the Cybermen or Dalek from the Doctor Who series, or like I said, the Borg from Star Trek. Well, they're able to absorb or capture anybody into their reigns and become one with them, making the Delightful Reaper a true force of power. Now, during all this, Mandy has started her own reign over the moon base and the kids next door as number 1, tricking almost everybody into thinking that she is number 1 and that she is the new one in charge. Now, there is more to the story, but I don't want to spoil it. You can find it here on YouTube. Go check it out. I do really love this special. I think it's very fun, very interesting, and it kind of combines both realms very well. Because we do know that while they're both very similar in stylings, they are very different, and I do think that this did combine them in a very interesting, fun, and unique sort of way. So, with all that being said, let's move on to references, shall we? Now, when it comes down to the voice acting, a lot of the main voice actors do make appearances in this, and they are from their respected series as well, so there really isn't one that is out of place, such as Richard Hovitz does come back as Billy and Harold. You have Grey Delisle as Mandy, Greg Eagles as Grimm, Ben Diskin as number 1 and 2, Lauren Tom as number 3 and number 14, Dee Bradley Baker as number 4, Cree Summer as number 5, and so on and so forth. We do still have the same cast, the same people, just all in the same special, if you will. Now, the animation is an interesting subject in itself, mainly because it is a combination of both studios. Both had their own respected designs of the characters along with the designs of the background, which they both kind of transferred over. So in some cases you'll see the background of the Grim Adventures of Billy and Mandy's world, Ennsville, but then you'll see the Billy and Mandy cast going to the codenamed Kids Next Door moon base and seeing it's almost the exact same as from their original show. This was intentional and on purpose, mainly to show the two different kinds of animation and to show the respected styles, but at the same time have them intermingling as if nothing were wrong or different. There are certain scenes here and there that they do kind of slip up, and they do kind of imply certain effects rather than show them, mainly because it doesn't really add up to the original characters' standpoints or storylines. And as I said before, the Ed and Eddie scene we see at the very beginning was done by the original studio that did Ed and Eddie, and was just sent over them later on in the later production of the series, or of the special itself. Now right off the bat, like I was saying, this has become more of a Cartoon Network crossover than just Billy and Mandy. Mainly because, like I said at the beginning, we do get that small glimpse of Ed and Eddie from the original animators themselves, and of course creator writing that segment. But we also get reference to the Powerpuff Girls. We get Fred Fredberger talking about Camp Lazlo or My Gym Partner's a Monkey. We also get certain characters coming in during the Delightful Reaper's Sudden Destruction at the end. We do see Dexter, we do see Dee Dee, we do see Eddie coming back again. We do see that kind of styling coming here and there throughout the entire episode. But the most fun part, I do think, was that their fake combinations at the very end credits, where they do show posters for different combinations. Some making sense, some not so much, and all being really fun to see if it ever did get made. Most likely unlikely now, but it did feel like a good chuckle and kind of just a joke on the idea that we did a crossover and maybe we'll do more, we don't know. But they ultimately never did, and it just goes on to show how much fun it can be. So all in all, while this is something that you wouldn't really see being a good combination, or even happening as a combination itself, this did very well. I do think that it's very fun, very lighthearted, very likable. I do like the characters' interactions with one another, such as number 1 and Grimm, or Mandy with the kid next door, or even just the delightful children with Billy, how annoyed they get with him ultimately. Not only that, we do keep the sensibilities of both universes kind of there. We do keep their main principles and personalities along with their settings and iconic features, if you will, in their respected styles and in their respected worlds, showing that these are two different aspects of the same coin, if you will, but just mixed together to make something unique, different, fun, dark, and something you really wouldn't expect ultimately at the end of the day. Well, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Please leave a like, comment, subscribe down below. There will be more combinations coming on later down the line. Like I said, we might do more shorts along the way as well, and we'll see how that goes. Thanks again for watching. If you have a suggestion for a crossover that you yourself have liked, maybe not know too much about, like the Ben 10 Generator X, or any of those other ones, please leave it down in the comment section. I'd love to hear it. Thanks again for watching, and hope to see you guys next time. Have a great one.